Yeames, and we're going to introduce each other in just a moment. This is two eclipses across America coming to a sky near you. And this is Rick, our New Hampshire Solar Eclipse Task Force founder and Chief Visionary Officer, and myself, as well as being the co-founder and Chief Science Officer. I am, obviously, I guess, an educator here at the McAuliffe-Shepard Discovery Center. So,
this is our Eclipse Mobile ditty.
you need to do it over here.
Got it.
Please.
With the mics, that's a good idea. Eclipse Mobile ditty with apologies to Paul Revere and Nathaniel Hathorn. Listen, my friends, and you will hear of a daytime darkness coming far and near. Astronomers everywhere are preparing and shouting, the eclipses are coming, the eclipses are coming. Listen, my children, and you will hear of a Pied Piper and his summer rides. Students everywhere and are learning and sharing. No child left inside, no child left inside. Listen, my juniors, and you will hear of 2 senior gifts coming next year. Graduates everywhere are planning to celebrate. Enchantment under the eclipses, enchantment under the eclipses. Listen, everyone, and you will hear of 2 sights of a lifetime coming year after year. Across the Americas, everyone is getting ready. The eclipses are coming. The eclipses are coming. Thank you.
All righty. So what eclipses? Hey, Dad, can you explain to us what a solar eclipse is? It's that simple.
That's his. I have one later on. That's his.
All right, we have some special numbers to present to you today, and I must tell you that Astronomy magazine today had an issue out on their email, and they had it wrong. Can you believe it? Astronomy magazine was wrong. So, Rick, tell us, what do these numbers represent?
So these are the days to the 2 sights of a lifetime coming up. From today, there's 189 days until the annular solar eclipse, and we'll get into that. That's the second one. For us here in New Hampshire, that's a warm-up or dress rehearsal. But that is Saturday, October 14th, 2023. And from today, they're not, as Astronomy Magazine reported, normally in a regular year, there'd be 365 days, 1 year from today to the eclipse. But because February of next year has a leap day, it's a leap year, it's actually an extra day. So it's 366 days to it. And if anyone tells you, it's a year off, we got plenty of time, that third number is the number of days to the next total solar eclipse here in New Hampshire. And that occurs on May 1st, 2079, which from today is 20,464 days away. So if you miss a year from now, it's a long wait. I mean, it's a long, long wait. So I suggest, as I have been for a while, you can ask my wife. I've been working on it for about 7-8 years now. So I'm all in, and we invite you all to join us.
Thank you, Rick. So numbers, and I'm a math teacher as well as an astronomy teacher, so I love numbers, love playing the numbers game. So exactly, what is an eclipse anyway? So I'm going to step over so I can point at things on the screen, and I think through the speakers the microphone is going to pick up okay? All righty. So, it's an event in which one celestial object casts its shadow on another. So the sun, the S-U-N, is off to the right. And so we have 2 depictions of the moon, which, obviously is not reality, but Earth is in the middle, the sun is off to the right, and here's a moon here, which would be what we call in the new moon position. And we have a moon down here, which is what we would call in the full moon position. And a total lunar eclipse is when the Earth's shadow, I should say Earth's shadow. Did you know it's improper to say the Earth? drives me wild when astronomers and scientists and teachers say the Earth. Where's Sally? Sally. Like, if you want to talk to Sally, I would never say, go talk to the Sally. You know, I may say talk to the woman named Sally. It's the same with Earth. Earth is a proper noun. We don't properly say the Earth. We could say the planet Earth, but not the Earth, because it's a proper name. I'm Dave, but you know, don't talk to me like the Dave, right? I am the person, the human, the husband, the daddy, Dave. Enough on that sidetrack.
And a punster, too.
Did you notice? Okay, so this happens during a full moon, and notice that everywhere on Earth, where it's nighttime, we'll see the total lunar eclipse. So that's kind of a nice thing about that. Everywhere, everyone on Earth gets to see the night side of it. But now, when the moon is what we call in its new moon position, the total solar eclipse, we have the rays from the sun coming, hitting the moon, and then the shadow of the moon hits. You can just see a tiny area of Earth is in the shadow of the moon. And in our planetarium show at 2 o'clock, we just finished, and credit to Amanda, just finished an illustration of the shadow moving across the United States and New Hampshire, right here. So this is the new moon position, and only 1/10 of 1% of Earth's population can see it. That's during the total path of the eclipse. But at any one point, very limited number of people will get to see it. But we have the opportunity here in New Hampshire to see it, which is awesome. So why don't we have a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse every full moon or every new moon? Because, you see, the moon's orbit is tilted by about 5 degrees. So it only produces an eclipse, whether it's lunar or solar, when the moon hits what we call the line of nodes. You know what I mean? So, which is along this line here. So the moon is on a descending node, but when it crosses that line and it causes an exact line up with the sun, we get then a solar eclipse. And then on the ascending node, if the moon is lined up exactly, then you have sun, earth, and moon, then we'll have a total lunar eclipse. So it's all about the nodes. So we have a total eclipse of the sun, and that happens when the shadow of the moon casts a full shadow someplace on Earth, and it's a limited area, which we'll talk about particularly in the planetarium theater. And we have what's called an annular eclipse, because the moon varies in distance. You can see it's closer to Earth here, a little further away here, and it makes sense, I'm sure, to you that when the moon is further away, it appears smaller in the sky, and it doesn't block out as much sun. But if it's lined up, we will have what's called an annular eclipse. We don't get the full total eclipse, we don't get the corona. We have a really nice image, and it's certainly worth paying attention to, but it's not the same as a total eclipse. And then a partial eclipse is when the shadow lines up to some degree someplace on Earth, but it's not directly lined up, so part of the sun is obscured by the moon, but not all of it. So depending where you are and what the eclipse is all about, the geometry is how much of the sun will be blocked. So total solar eclipse, annular, and partial solar eclipses. Then we have what's called the Saros cycles. And we are in the realm of Saros 136 and 145. And these cycles are about 1,200 years. But the neat thing about the cycles that we're in now is they're producing the longest periods of totality during this 1,200-year period. where there's going to be 70 or more eclipses in this particular Saros cycle. Now, if you can see, let me make that image a little larger here. The Saros cycle happens every 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. And the 8 hours is important because Earth rotates roughly in 24 hours, so 8 hours is a third of a rotation. So the path of totality goes across planet Earth, and notice the paths are very similar. And this is for Saros cycle 136. But notice if you notice the years, for example, something easy here, 1991 right here. Well, 18 years later, it's 2009. And 18 years later, it's 2027. So you can see it's exactly lined up on the same place on Earth, but it happens at a different place because, again, that 8 hours is significant, and it takes 3 cycles for it to come around. 3 times 8 is 24. So that's what's called the Saros cycles, and this is another cycle of Saros 145. So it's not like, okay, it's 136, next will be 137. No, it's like 136 and 145 are happening now. It's just the geometries are a little different. And so you can see the last total solar eclipse we had in the United States was August 21st, 2017, represented here. And the one that goes along with that would be, let's see, 35, right? Would be the 2035, which is over here. And so these are projected on a circular Earth that has been spread out, so it's a little difficult to maybe perhaps imagine, but all those cycles are repeating every 18 years, 11 days, and 3 hours. So multiply that by 3, and if you want to get back to where you started from, it's about 54 years. And what this is a black and white image, just again, of the fact that Moon's orbit is off by about 5.1 degrees as it goes around the sun. So there's your 3 types of eclipses: the total eclipse, annular eclipse, and partial eclipse. Any questions about types of eclipses? Yes?
So if it's a total eclipse for us here in New Hampshire, say down in Texas, would it be a partial eclipse for them?
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Because, and one thing we'll illustrate is the path of totality is like between 110, 150 miles wide. So if you're not in the path of totality, it's partial for you until you get to a point where you don't see an eclipse at all. So, good question. Any other question? All righty. So, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself here.
So,
You gotta use the microphone.
gotta use a microphone. Got it. So I am colloquially known as the Pied Piper of pizza, peace, and penumbras. And pizza is with Domino's Pizza. Peace is everywhere, and penumbras are, if you remember what Dave just talked about, the shadow of the moon on the Earth. So that's what I focus on,
On what?
the shadow of the moon on the Earth.
On the Earth?
On Earth, excuse me.
Sorry, it's a teacher.
English and math are not my strong points. On Earth, I'm gonna have to work on that. And basically, I was bitten by the eclipse bug when I was young, but then we went through a long drought from 1979 to 2017, where there were no eclipses locally, and I was not traveling to see them. So in 2017, when I went out to Casper, Wyoming, to view that one, does everyone remember the Great American Eclipse? Yeah, it was about 65% here. Even with that, we're gonna be 96, 97% here in Concord, but even with 65%, there was a lot of excitement. I know they ran out of glasses here and everything else, so it was very, very good. And when I realized the next one I didn't have to chase it, it was coming to us here in New Hampshire and New England, I started working on it. So I've been working on it about 7, 8 years, And now finally we're a year out, and a lot of people are getting excited about it. So this was me in Wyoming. I'm on the left. We were looking up, and I don't think there's anyone here that was in our team out there. We had about 20 of us, some solar eclipse chasers, tracked it through Beijing and all over the world, some telescope makers. But this one is coming to us, so very, very exciting.
Thank you, Rick. And, moi. So I am one of the directors of the New Hampshire Astronomical Society, and we are featuring telescopes outside again. I'm a senior educator here at the McAuliffe-Shepard Discovery Center. I'm a STEM teacher at Belmont High School in Belmont, New Hampshire. I produce and direct a cable TV show, The Sky This Month, which is seen on the Concord Community TV and about 66 other cable stations across the country, as well as a YouTube channel for friends and family. If you're interested in more information, I can give you that so you can connect. But YouTube, The Sky This Month, Dave McDonald. You gotta put the Dave McDonald because there are other people that have plagiarized me. Water skiing.
Not
I'm a
the
pilot.
Dave, just Dave.
And I am the Astronomy Club Advisor for Belmont High School. And 2017, August 21st, my family, we went down to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And my wife on the far left, my daughter Sally is in the middle. And moi, and all kinds of photography, still photography, video equipment, telescope there for this event.
Is that your picture?
And, pardon me?
Is that your picture?
My picture.
No.
Oh, yes.
That you took?
Yes, the pictures I'm going to show you, the next 5 pictures are pictures that either I or my daughter took there. So yes, I took that picture. It's fuzzy. It could have been my daughter. We're both there with multiple cameras and filters and such. So this is through the telescope as the shadow of the moon is coming across the face of the sun. This is a corona. And you can see there's a star in the upper left there. I think that's actually Regulus, if I remember correctly. You don't want to miss this. You know, it's coming to New Hampshire. And then the moon is exiting again through the telescope. The moon is on its way, uncovering the sun. And here we have what's called the diamond ring effect, Bailey's beads, diamond ring effect. And I want to tell you something. One of the amazing things, like I was at a field behind a church. They had a big field, and we had squares of 20 by 20s for $30 a night, which is awesome. Free donuts and coffee in the morning, and then a great lunch buffet for 10 bucks. It was awesome, but about 300 people or so in the field, and slowly the sun is covered, and we see this. And then all of a sudden, it's like it slowly dims, but it doesn't dim to nothing. It slowly dims, and bam!
Oh my God. Scared.
It happens. Yes! That was the intended effect. Yes, it scares you. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, dark! And just at that moment, you hear everybody, the 300 voices going, oh! It's incredible. You can't miss this event. Well, you can, don't.
That's why it's called Sight of a Lifetime.
So, yeah, you want to be there. And outside is the Eclipse mobile that Rick has mentioned, and it's out there waiting for you to go out and have a personalized look.
I know some of you have seen it. There is an update. There is an upgrade rather on the hood, so check that out. It's a little Easter egg in honor of this weekend. See if you can find it, and definitely check out the trunk panel. That's what the sky will look like during totality a year from now, farther up north in the path of totality.
Okay, why don't you talk about this next slide as well?
Okay,
We have 6 minutes.
really quick. Governor Sununu signed our first in the nation solar eclipse day bill. We have a picture of him signing it over there, and sort of exciting. We are announcing some junior solar eclipse ambassadors. Unfortunately, the governor couldn't make it. However, the pen that he used to sign the bill is here. So the signatures on those certificates will be the same pen that Governor Sununu used.
And you can see this signature there at the bottom line in that blue ink from that very pen that will be experienced today. So the sun, moon, and you can see the annular total solar eclipse, which is Rick mentioned as like a dress rehearsal for us, will be partial here in New Hampshire, 66%-ish.
Here in 25% for the annular.
Oh, for the annual, 25%. But the total, you can see the April 8th, 2024 hits New England, and the path of totality hits right across the northern part of Coos County. So you want to make plans. We'll talk about that in a moment. Speaking of Coos County, we have Coos County, New Hampshire, but it's Coos Bay in Oregon, which is experiencing the annular solar eclipse. And we had this proclamation done to connect our counties together, and we signed 60 of these proclamations here. And then we sent the 60 to Oregon. They signed 60 and sent 30 of them back. So it's, and we have one up
Yep,
there,
yep.
up front.
We have that. We have a copy of the bill too that people can read afterwards.
This is where the two eclipses, the ASE, the annular solar eclipse, and the TSE, the total solar eclipse, they cross near San Antonio, Texas. And my pre-calculus class back in 2019 got the exact latitude and longitude of where that's happening. It's in the woods about 211 feet westish from a class 6 road. Not clear if it's private property or not, but we'll check that out, or somebody will get yelled at or arrested. So the sun, moon, and you, it's happening right here. Alrighty. So here you can see there's some numbers that you can get online, but you can see the eclipse in the main, and the red line that you see, that is like the center of the path of totality, the red line here, getting up into just above New Hampshire. But between the blue lines is the area of totality. So if you step below the blue or above the blue line, then it's not total for you. And let me tell you, you don't want to settle for 99%. Some people think, well, 97, 98, 99, that's good enough. It's not. 99% total eclipse is only 1% of the experience. You're not going to get the emotions that you see. You're not going to get the corona that you see unless you are above that blue line. So north of Lancaster, Berlin.
Lancaster and Milan are the
Kind of the boundary lines, yeah. So you want to be north of Lancaster. The further up into Coos County you can go, the better. And not that we are opposed to sharing, you know, you can go to Vermont, you can go to Maine, you can go to Canada, but we have it ourselves. And so years ago, 2019, we put together that, and you can see Sally is, who's in our audience right here. That's me. And Rick is in here.
left.
Yep, far left, over there. And then one of my students, my pre-calculus students, Cody York, is here from Belmont High School. He's now studying trumpet at the conservatory in Boston. Quite accomplished, he is. So the progress of the eclipse, it goes, and then you have the upper right there, which is just an amazing sight to see. Don't miss this. So, Rick, you want to tell us a little bit about this sign here? And then next is the kids.
Okay. So eclipses are really rare in the same spot. Globally, they happen about every year and a half. But this is one of the past eclipses. This was from the 1932 total solar eclipse that went from Canada down through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And just like then, just like today, make your reservations, make your plans early. And again, this poster sits in the Notchland Inn up in Hart's location. And they, Ed and Les, the innkeepers, graciously let me use it as part of my eclipse outreach.
Why don't you introduce our guests?
Okay, so now, next, I'd like to introduce our first New Hampshire Solar Eclipse ambassadors, all I believe from Holderness Central School. So they're going to come up and do some of the training that they've done. One thing I do want to mention, we're looking for ambassadors across New Hampshire. Middle school students, high school students, and then NASA is looking for college undergrads to partner with adult science enthusiasts and adult amateur astronomers like me, Sally, and Dave. So if you know of anyone in the state of New Hampshire, we're looking. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Emily as their teacher advisor, faculty advisor, and they can come on up and lead you in some of the training they've done.
So this is Sophia, and she started being an ambassador in 6th grade because we have to have them all the way till 2014 in the spring. So she was a 6th grader, 7th grader. This is Hannah. This is Jade. This is Oliver. And this is Tyler, and they are Aurora. She's hiding behind Tyler. Hiding. And they are our ambassadors, and I will let Sophia introduce them.
We are a group of 6th and 7th grade junior ambassadors from Holderness Central School in Holderness, New Hampshire. And we're here to teach you about solar eclipses and how to look at them safely. There are 2 solar eclipses, one in October of this year and one in April of next year. And there are 6 students, just like Mrs. Kelly said, and we are going to teach the K through 4 at our school about this. We are going to go to library, book groups, PTAs, and we are also going to teach other middle school students in the SAU so they can become junior ambassadors themselves. And so here's Aurora with the basics of solar eclipse. Yes.
Our group will be using this flip chart to teach about solar eclipses. An eclipse is when one object in space comes between the sun and another object in space. A solar eclipse is when the moon comes between the sun and Earth, casting a shadow on the Earth. The moon's penumbra is its wider shadow. Areas in this experience a partial solar eclipse. The moon's umbra is the darkest part of its shadow. Areas in this small portion of the Earth experience a total solar eclipse.
Hi, I'm Oliver, and Tyler and I will be showing you about solar eclipses with this graph. This is the Earth, Moon, and the Sun. And now I'll give the microphone to Tyler for more.
You have to slide this way. Just slide this way.
Here, hold this.
When the moon blocks the sun's rays, and projects it onto the Earth, it creates a solar eclipse. As the Earth rotates, the moon's shadow moves across the Earth, making a solar eclipse. I'll give off to Sophia, Jade.
Where's the sun? Where's the sun? This is one of the models we're going to be using to teach today. What you're going to need is a circle cutout that will represent the sun. Your body's going to represent the Earth, and your thumb will represent the moon. Jade will be showing us today. So she's going to close one eye and back up about 10 to 15 feet. And she's going to use her thumb to cover the sun like a solar eclipse and then exit from the sun just like a solar eclipse. And this is something that you can do at home or like in school, but yeah.
I'm Hannah. I'm going to teach you how to safely wear solar eclipse glasses. So the junior ambassadors will demonstrate how to put them on correctly. So the first step is you look down. This is a very important step because the sun could damage your eyes or even blind you if you look directly at it. Then you can put the solar eclipse glasses on, and finally you can look up. Now they can observe the solar eclipse safely.
One of you want to describe what the sun looks like with those glasses on?
So the sun looks like during totality, you can see the corona around it, like on the shirt and on some of the diagrams, and you can see it. It's normally black around it, but you can see the corona and the circle inside, which is the moon. And yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay.
Thank you, wonderful, wonderful. And as they just demonstrated with the eclipse glasses, don't let this sight of a lifetime be your last sight. So get your eclipse glasses. They are available in our science store here at the McAuliffe-Shepard Discovery Center.
Question, Dan?
Yes. Oh, yes.
That last slide, it said, use certified protective solar eclipse eyewear. The stuff here at the Science Center, is that?
Absolutely. Nothing less. Nothing less. Correct. Hey, we have something really happy. We know these 2 days, the 189, the 366. What happens on day 389 from today?
So we have a special project set up that the McAuliffe-Shepard Discovery Center has graciously offered to let us bury a solar eclipse time capsule. And after the eclipse, I think we might have some junior solar eclipse ambassador material in there, maybe a shirt and definitely some glasses. A lot of stuff will go into a 3x3 foot box. And after 55 years, on May 1st, 2079, it'll be exhumed, and that'll be the date of the next total solar eclipse here in New Hampshire. So unfortunately, I probably won't be around for it. My kids will be in their 80s, but it's great to see some of the younger folks in this crowd will hopefully put that date into your Google Calendar soon, and don't use up May 1st, 2079. You definitely want to be here in New Hampshire. So very, very excited. We'll go over that at 3:30.
And so at the 55 years, you see it's 54 years and something. That's the Saros cycle. See how that's all coming around here to New Hampshire again?
Thank you for coming, and there is pizza in the Unitel room, and I'll be available. Dave has to run off and do a show, but I'm available for any questions or any comments. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Just for the